What is art? Why should you care? And are men that do art effeminate? Men like me. Art comes from the Latin word ars, which maybe you've come across somewhere in recent times, or it comes from the Greek word techne. That's at least where we get the word technical or technology from. And neither of these words would have conjured the modern concept of art in the minds of the ancient Romans or the ancient Greeks as we think of it today. If we want to find another English word for this word art, a synonym for art that helps us understand what art used to mean in the ancient Latin language, then we could use the word craft, or I even like mastery in recent times. In the medieval guilds, for example, if you did a specific craft like blacksmithing or carpentry or something along those lines, then the highest level that you could achieve was master. You did your master work at the end of your apprenticeship, which maybe took about 10 years, so it was a long process. And by the end of that process, you had mastered your craft, your art, and so you were a master. And the Greek word meaning the same thing again, your craft, the thing that you can master. If we try to use this in our explanation of what art is, you can say it's a technical mastery of something. You understand the technicalities of that thing that you're doing, like in your bones. So you tell me, after this brief explanation, is art important? Should you care about your craft, whatever it may be? Should men hone their technical mastery of things? Not considering women at the moment, because we're talking about masculine storytelling on this channel. But if we look at art in this way, not as a pretentious group of people trying to make unreasonable amounts of money by unreasonable means, by just experimenting with paint on a canvas, but as people who hone their skills in a given craft, then almost anything can be considered art. An art, a craft. And this potentially turns anything that one puts one's hand to something transcendent. It becomes independent of the economies in this world, even though those economies help us to survive. So you can't really exist as a human being without being a part of these economies and by depending on them in some or other way. But you can bring something transcendent into the world through anything that you do. And the question is just, how do you do it? Do you have a mastery of that thing? And this kind of revolutionizes, I think, how we think about art. If we stop thinking about it as a commodified, commercialized quantity, a genre of things that people do, and rather as the way in which we do anything, we begin to think about anything that we do as the opportunity to do something transcendent, to communicate something higher. And that may sound ridiculous, especially when you consider something mundane like vacuuming or cleaning your carpet, the floor, making your bed, washing your dishes, but I think this is what constitutes a healthy work ethic, which is really important for the human being, who I sometimes also think could be defined as homo laborans, the working human, although I guess that doesn't set us apart from other human ancestors if you want to go into evolution, which I don't really trust. To be completely honest, but that's up to you to do if you want to. But I lose the plot here. So it seems ridiculous, getting back to the mundane tasks, like vacuuming the carpet or washing your dishes and these kinds of things. But it turns anything that you lay your hand to into an opportunity, into a vocation, into a higher calling, not to save the world, but to actually be in it, to be human. And by being present, to actually pour yourself and something transcendent into the world in such a way that it can have a positive, upbuilding, edifying effect on the people around you. And I think the highest art form, this is as far as I can tell, is the art of dying well. It isn't easy to die, I imagine. I haven't done it before, at least not physically. Never mind dying well, which would be the highest form of dying. It requires a mastery of self that few other things demand in this world. And in order to master yourself, you need a clear end, a clear goal. It is good for every man to ask himself, to know in his bones, what is he willing to die for? The rite of passage called coming of age is a human universal, so it appears in most cultures, if not in all cultures. You need a telos in order to die well, in order to master the craft of dying. We are given lots of smaller chances, lots of smaller arts along the way, through which we can practice being present, being here, now. And by being present, filling that moment with what it is that we stand for and are dying for. Because you are dying for something right now, at this very moment. The question is merely, what? What are you spending your time on? What are you pouring your life into? Everything we do along this inevitable road to our death, the goal we can't choose, but we have to face at some point, whether we want to or not, becomes an opportunity to bear witness, an opportunity to become the pen or the instrument of a higher truth. Investing in every task that you are called to, no matter how mundane. It could be cleaning the toilet. Investing in these tasks is investing in your mastery of self, and as a result in your mastery of dying well. Your mastery of the highest art. This, in turn, is an investment in the lives of those around you. It is an investment in those that depend on you, in whatever way, even if it's just emotional dependence. Mastering yourself is good, because you only master yourself if you recognize the fact that the world is bigger than you, and that good things are not limited to whatever goes into your stomach or whatever releases endorphins in your body. By mastering yourself, you grow an awareness and an appreciation for the people and the places and the things around you. You grow an awareness for the things that are beyond your immediate experience, beyond your immediate emotions. The noise within quietens, and your attention expands to hear the sounds beyond your own conflicted emotions. You learn how to take part in the world without losing yourself to it. You learn to play by other people's rules without compromising your own. You grow an awareness for the pains and struggles of others because you've learned to understand your own struggles. This is what art is about. Art is craft, and craft can be anything you do. Will you do it well? What are you doing it for? What are you dying for? And what, ultimately, will your death communicate? As a Christian, I seek to emulate the Christ, Jesus, through whom God himself became present in our reality. He was also here, in that now, and through him, a life beyond was communicated into this world. Something transcendent broke through into this world through the way in which he lived, through what he taught, and how he died. His death communicated life, and that is the greatest mastery of the art of dying well.